turn to something beautiful, and she.
If I wasn't caught in that snare, I'd kill you.
If you stay in that snare, you'll die.
Brace yourself for a tale of bravery and destiny. This is how Queen Esther saved her people. In ancient Persia, Esther, a Jewish girl, becomes queen. But her people are in danger. A decree threatens the lives of all Jews. Esther's cousin Mordecai urges her to speak to King Xerxes. The catch? Approaching the king uninvited could mean death. Esther fasts and prays. With courage and faith, she approaches the throne. The king extends his scepter, sparing her life. She invites him to a banquet and reveals the plot against her people. King Xerxes is furious. He orders the villain Haman to be punished. The Jewish people are saved. Esther's bravery establishes the festival of Purim, a celebration of survival and divine intervention. Remember, one act of courage can change history. This is the legacy of Queen Esther.
I bet you didn't know Miriam's bold challenge against Moses led to a startling punishment. Let's dive into this dramatic Bible tale. In Numbers 12, Miriam and Aaron speak against their brother Moses. They question his unique role and criticize his Cushite wife. But here's the twist: God hears everything. God calls the siblings to the tent of meeting. He rebukes Miriam and Aaron, declaring that Moses is unlike any other prophet. God speaks to him directly. Then comes the shocking moment. Miriam is struck with leprosy, her skin turning white as snow. Aaron, in panic, begs Moses to intercede. Moses prays, and God instructs that Miriam be isolated for 7 days. This dramatic story highlights the seriousness of challenging God's chosen leader. It also showcases the power of intercessory prayer. Moses' prayer leads to Miriam's eventual healing and restoration. So, remember, humility and respect for divine authority are paramount. And never underestimate the power of prayer. Like and subscribe for more awe-inspiring Bible stories.
Ever seen an iron axe head float? Let's dive into a miracle from ancient times. In the Bible, 2 Kings chapter 6 verses 1 through 7, we find an amazing story. Elisha, a prophet, was with a group of men who were cutting down trees near the Jordan River. Suddenly one man cried out in panic, "Oh no, my lord, it was borrowed." His iron axe head had flown off and sunk into the water. Imagine the despair. Losing something borrowed can be terrifying, but Elisha, calm and confident, had a plan. He asked, "Where did it fall?" The man showed him the spot, and Elisha cut a stick and threw it there, and then the unbelievable happened. The iron axe head floated to the surface. Elisha told the man, "Lift it out," and he did. This miracle shows us the power of faith and divine intervention. Even in our moments of distress, remember, there's always hope. Isn't that incredible? Thanks for watching. Follow for more amazing stories from the Bible.
Let me tell you about Jonah. Yeah, the guy who got swallowed by a big fish. So God tells Jonah to go to Nineveh and warn them to change their ways. But Jonah, he runs the other way. He hops on a ship, trying to escape God's plan. Then this massive storm hits, and the sailors are freaking out, thinking they're all gonna die. Jonah finally admits, "This is because of me. I'm running from God. Throw me overboard and the storm will stop." The sailors don't want to at first, but eventually they do it, and sure enough, the storm calms instantly. Now here's where it gets crazy. Jonah gets swallowed by a giant fish. Not for an hour or two, but for 3 whole days. He's inside the fish, praying, repenting, realizing he can't hide from God. After those 3 days, the fish spits him out onto dry land. And guess what? Jonah finally goes to Nineveh. The whole city turns from their evil ways, and God spares them. Jonah learned the hard way. You can't outrun God's calling.
In a small village, a miracle was about to unfold. What really happened in Bethany? Hold on tight, this story will amaze you. In the town of Bethany, Lazarus, the brother of Mary and Martha, fell gravely ill. Despite their urgent plea, Jesus arrived 4 days after Lazarus was buried, but Jesus had a plan. He asked to be taken to the tomb, and filled with compassion, Jesus wept. Then he did something extraordinary. Jesus called out in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." And guess what? Lazarus walked out of the tomb, alive and well. This miracle showed Jesus' divine power and brought many to believe in him. Lazarus' resurrection is a powerful reminder of hope, faith, and the incredible things that can happen when we believe. Want to dive deeper into more amazing stories like this? Hit that like button and follow for more miraculous moments from the Bible.
Here's a story you might have heard, but it never gets old. It's about a guy named Daniel. So Daniel's living in Babylon, but he's still faithful to God, even though most people around him aren't. The king at the time, Darius, really liked Daniel, but some of the king's officials didn't. They were jealous of Daniel because he was wise and had a lot of favor. So they came up with a plan. They convinced the king to make a law that said, no one can pray to anyone except the king for 30 days. And if they do, they get thrown into a den of lions. Harsh, right? He didn't care. He kept praying to God, just like he always did. So the officials caught him and told the king. Darius was upset. He liked Daniel, but the law was the law. So Daniel gets thrown into the lion's den. Now here's the part that blows my mind. God sends an angel to shut the mouths of the lions. Daniel spends the whole night in there, and not a single scratch. The next morning, the king runs to the den, hoping Daniel's still alive, and when he sees him unharmed, he pulls him out and declares that Daniel's God is the real deal. Daniel's faith saved him from the lions. Alright, quick story for you. There's this guy named Zacchaeus, total outcast tax collector. Nobody liked him. But one day Jesus is passing through his town, and Zacchaeus wants to see him. Problem is, he's short, like really short, so what does he do? Climbs a tree. Yep, grown man up in a tree just to get a look at Jesus. Now here's the crazy part. Jesus stops, looks up and says, Zacchaeus, come down. I'm coming to your house today. Everyone's shocked. Why is Jesus hanging out with this guy? But Zacchaeus is so moved, he says, I'm giving half my stuff to the poor, and if I've cheated anyone, I'll pay them back 4 times. Jesus just smiles and says, salvation has come to this house. One moment with Jesus and Zacchaeus' life is completely changed. Isn't that something? Throughout the rich tapestry of the Bible, divine power has split the seas for the faithful. The most famous account chronicles Moses parting the Red Sea, creating a path for the Israelites' escape from Egypt. This miraculous event showcased God's might, helping the Israelites cross on dry ground while the pursuing Egyptian army was swallowed by the returning waters. Similarly, Elisha demonstrated God's power by striking the Jordan River with Elijah's mantle, parting its waters so he could pass through. But Elisha was not the first to experience this miracle. His mentor, Elijah, had performed the same act earlier using the same cloak. Each time, the parting of the waters symbolized divine intervention and the solidification of God's covenant with his people. These events highlight that with faith and divine backing, even the most insurmountable obstacles can be overcome. The splitting of seas in the Bible remains a testament to the enduring power of faith and the remarkable acts of divine providence.
What I wish I knew about Joshua instead of superheroes, his story is epic. So, here's the scoop. Joshua, leader of the Israelites, faced the mighty city of Jericho. Walls so thick they seemed unbreakable. But Joshua had a secret weapon, faith and a divine plan from God. 7 days, 7 marches, 7 priests blowing trumpets. Sounds like a recipe for success, right? On the 7th day, they marched 7 times around the city, gave a mighty shout, and boom! The walls came crashing down. It wasn't the army's strength, but their faith in God's promise that won the day. Joshua's story teaches us that with faith, even the impossible crumbles. So next time you're facing a wall in your life, remember Joshua and Jericho. Stand strong, have faith, and let your shout be heard. Like and subscribe for more incredible Bible stories. See you next time.
Moses trudged through the sun-scorched desert, his flock of sheep following closely, when a strange sight caught his eye. In the distance, a bush blazed with fire, yet it remained unconsumed by the flames. He halted, staring in bewilderment at the miraculous spectacle unfolding before him. Gripping his staff tightly, Moses approached, the heat of the flames strangely absent. Suddenly, a powerful voice called out, "Moses, Moses," causing him to freeze in place. The voice commanded him to remove his sandals, declaring the ground as holy. Trembling, Moses obeyed, feeling the sacred weight of the moment as he fell to his knees. He bowed his head, overcome with awe and fear, realizing he was in the presence of the God of his ancestors, as the bush burned on, unquenched. The earth was full of wickedness and people had turned away from God. Violence and corruption spread everywhere. God decided to bring judgment, but one man stood out. Noah. Noah was righteous and walked faithfully with God. The Lord spoke to Noah, telling him of his plan to destroy the earth with a flood. He commanded Noah to build an ark from cypress wood, large enough to hold his family and 2 of every animal species. God also told him to gather food to sustain them. Noah, despite the enormity of the task and the disbelief of those around him, trusted God. He began building the ark with his sons. People laughed at Noah, ignoring his warnings of the coming flood. But Noah kept working, preparing the ark exactly as God instructed. When the ark was completed, God instructed Noah to bring the animals inside, 2 of every kind, male and female. Noah, his family, and the animals entered, trusting in God's promise of protection. Once Noah and his family were safely inside the ark, God shut the door. Then the rain began to fall. For 40 days and nights, the heavens opened and water flooded the earth. The floodwaters rose higher and higher, covering everything in sight. Everything outside the ark was destroyed. Noah and his family remained safe, floating on the waters in the ark. After 150 days, God remembered Noah and sent a wind to dry the earth. the water began to recede, and the ark rested on the mountains of Ararat. Noah sent out a dove, and when it returned with an olive leaf, he knew the waters had receded. Soon after, God told Noah to leave the ark. Noah built an altar and thanked God. God made a covenant with Noah, promising never to flood the earth again. As a sign, God placed a rainbow in the sky.
You need to hear this if you're a Bible enthusiast. We're diving into Noah's Ark in just 60 seconds. Picture this, a world gone wild, full of chaos and corruption. Enter Noah, a righteous man, chosen by God to save humanity. God gives Noah a massive task. Build an ark. Not just any boat, but a colossal ship, 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. That's longer than a football field. Noah gets to work gathering his family and pairs of every animal. 2 by 2 they come. Lions, tigers, bears, oh my. The skies darken, rain starts pouring, and it doesn't stop. For 40 days and 40 nights, the earth is flooded, but Noah's Ark stays afloat, a beacon of hope in the watery abyss. Finally, the rain ceases and the water begins to recede. After what seems like forever, the Ark rests on Mount Ararat. Noah sends out a dove, and it returns with an olive leaf, a sign of new beginnings. The flood ends, and God's promise shines in the sky, a rainbow. So next time you see a rainbow, remember Noah's faith and the incredible journey of the Ark. Amazing, right? Stop doubting and start believing. Here's a story that will ignite your faith. Paul was on a mission, spreading the good news, when he found himself on a ship caught in a violent storm. For 14 harrowing days, the winds roared and the waves crashed. The crew lost all hope, but not Paul. He stood up and declared, "Keep your courage, men, for I have faith in God." The ship was battered, the crew exhausted, but in the darkest hour, God's promise shone through. An angel assured Paul that everyone would survive, and just like that, they were shipwrecked on the island of Malta, wet, cold, but alive. Paul's unwavering faith turned a disaster into a testament of God's power. So when life's storms rage, remember Paul's story. Hold on to your faith and trust that brighter days are ahead. You've got this. Follow for more inspiring stories from the Bible.
As the waves crashed over the tiny boat, the disciples clung to the sides, their faces pale with fear. The storm raged with a fury that seemed to defy nature itself, dark clouds swirling ominously above. In the midst of this chaos, Jesus lay asleep, his presence a beacon of peace amid the turmoil. Desperate and terrified, the disciples shook him awake, pleading for help as the boat threatened to capsize. With a calmness that contrasted sharply with the storm, Jesus stood and stretched out his hand. His voice, firm and steady, commanded, "Peace, be still." And in an instant, the raging winds and violent waves subsided. The sea became as smooth as glass, and an awe-struck silence fell over the disciples. In that moment, they marveled at his power, realizing that even the forces of nature obeyed him. 10 men stood at a distance, covered in leprosy, crying out, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." Jesus looked at them with compassion and said, "Go, show yourselves to the priests." As they went, their skin was healed, their sores disappeared. Joy filled their hearts as they realized they were clean. But only one turned back. He fell at Jesus' feet, praising God, and thanked him. Jesus asked, "Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has only this foreigner returned to give praise to God?" Then Jesus said to him, "Rise and go. Your faith has made you well." On one journey, a man was traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho. Along the way, he fell into the hands of robbers. They stripped him, beat him, and left him half dead by the roadside. A priest happened to be going down that same road. When he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. Next, a Levite came to the place, saw the man, and also crossed to the other side. But then a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was. When he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day, he gave 2 denarii to the innkeeper. "Look after him," he said, "and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have." Jesus asked, "Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers?" The answer was clear, the one who had mercy on him. Jesus replied, "Go and do likewise." A shepherd had 100 sheep. One day, one of them wandered away. Leaving the 99 behind, the shepherd went searching for the lost one. He didn't stop until he found it. And when he did, he rejoiced. He placed the sheep on his shoulders and celebrated its return. Jesus told this story to show that God cares for each of us, like that lost sheep. Even when we wander, he seeks us out. There's more joy in heaven over one lost soul that's found than over 99 who don't need saving.
Cain and Abel, sons of Adam, both bring offerings to God. Abel offers his finest lamb, and God is pleased. Cain brings fruits from his does not accept them. Jealousy burns within Cain. God warns him, "Sin is crouching at your door, but you must master it." Ignoring the warning, Cain lures Abel into the field. In a moment of rage, he strikes his brother down. God asks, "Where is your brother Abel?" Cain coldly replies, "Am I my brother's keeper?" For his sin, Cain is cursed, marked, and sent to wander the earth in exile. In a time when the earth was filled with wickedness, God chose one righteous man, Noah,
hits, waves crashing, wind howling, chaos everywhere. The disciples, terrified, wake Jesus up, shouting, "Lord, save us!" And what does Jesus do? He stands up, stretches out his hand and says, "Peace, be still." He stands up, stretches out his hand and says, "Peace, be still." Instantly, the wind dies down. The sea becomes as calm as glass. Just like that. The disciples look at each other in awe, asking, "Who is this man? Even the winds and the waves obey him." This isn't just a story. It's a testament to Jesus' power and divinity. And it all happened in the blink of an eye. Amazing, right? Stay tuned for more incredible stories from the Bible.
One day, Jesus sat near the temple treasury, watching as people gave their offerings. Many rich people came by, placing large amounts of money into the collection box. Then, a poor widow approached. She dropped in 2 small copper coins, worth only a few cents. Jesus called his disciples over and said, "Truly, this poor widow has given more than all the others. They gave from their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, gave all she had to live on." The widow's gift showed that it's not about how much you give, but the heart behind it.
Why are there not more people talking about baby Moses? His story is totally inspiring and full of surprises. Let's unravel it together. Pharaoh's got a crazy rule to harm all Hebrew baby boys, but Moses' mom she hides him in a basket and sets him afloat on the Nile River. Guess who finds him? The Pharaoh's own daughter. She sees the basket, hears the baby cry, and her heart melts. She decides to raise him as her own. Talk about a plot twist. Moses grows up in the palace, but he never forgets his roots. This tiny baby in a basket goes on to lead his people to freedom. Yep, that Moses. So next time you see a basket, remember baby Moses and how one brave mom's clever plan changed history. Keep being awesome and catch you in the next story.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refused to bow to the golden statue of King Nebuchadnezzar. Furious, the king ordered them to be thrown into a fiery furnace, heated 7 times hotter than usual. But when the king looked inside, he saw not 3 men, but 4, unharmed and walking in the fire. He called them out, and they emerged without even a hair singed. Nebuchadnezzar declared, "No other god can save like this." Their faith stood firm, and God delivered them from the flames.
This is why you need to hear the story of Jesus' birth, because it's a night that brought hope to all. In a humble town called Bethlehem, a young woman named Mary gave birth to a baby boy. This baby was Jesus, the Son of God. There was no room at the inn, so shepherds in the fields saw a bright star and heard angels singing. They followed the star and found baby Jesus wrapped in cloth, lying in a manger. Wise men from the east brought gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. They knew this child was special, sent to bring light into the world. And that's the story of the miraculous birth of Jesus Christ. A night of wonder, a night of hope.
In the days before the flood, the earth was filled with wickedness. Humanity had turned away from goodness, and violence filled the land. But there was one man, Noah, who walked with God. In a world consumed by evil, he remained righteous and faithful. God warned Noah of a great flood that would cleanse the earth. He commanded Noah to build an ark, a vessel of salvation for his family and the animals. Noah obeyed, and as he worked, the animals came to him, 2 of every kind, guided by the hand of God. When the ark was complete, God shut the door, and the rains began to pour. For 40 nights, the floodwaters rose, covering the earth. All life outside the ark was washed away. After the rain ceased, Noah released a dove to search for dry ground. The dove returned with an olive branch. When the waters finally receded, the ark rested on the peaks of a great mountain. God made a covenant with Noah, promising never to flood the earth again. The rainbow became a symbol of hope.
This is why you need to forgive. The parable of the unforgiving servant is a must-hear story. So here's the scoop. Jesus tells this story about a king who decides to settle accounts with his servants. One servant owes him a mind-blowing amount of money, think millions of dollars. The servant begs for mercy, and guess what? The king forgives the entire debt. Yep, wipes it clean. But then this same servant goes out and finds another servant who owes him just a few bucks. Instead of showing mercy, he grabs him by the throat and demands repayment. When the second servant can't pay, he throws him in prison. Word gets back to the king, and let's just say, he is not happy. He calls the unforgiving servant back and says, "Shouldn't you have had mercy on your fellow servant just like I had on you?" Then he hands him over to the jailers until he can pay back everything. The moral? Forgive others just as we've been forgiven. It's a powerful reminder that mercy should flow both ways. Think about it.
Am I the only one that didn't know John the Baptist was so epic? Once upon a time in the rugged wilderness of Judea, a man named John lived a life like no other. His mission? Prepare the way for someone bigger than anyone could imagine. John wasn't your average Joe. He wore camel hair, ate locusts and honey, and preached like there was no tomorrow. He baptized people, urging them to turn their lives around. And who did he baptize? That was a game changer. Jesus Christ himself. But John's story isn't all sunshine and rainbows. He called out the powerful, including King Herod. This bold move landed him in prison, and eventually it cost him his life. John's legacy? A fearless prophet who paved the way for the Messiah. His life teaches us the power of faith, the importance of standing up for what's right, and the ultimate sacrifice. So next time you think of John the Baptist, remember, his story is one of incredible courage and unwavering faith.
The wedding at Cana was filled with joy and laughter, but an unexpected problem was brewing. The wine had run out, leaving the host embarrassed and the guests disappointed. Mary, the mother of Jesus, knew her son could help and approached him with quiet faith. "They have no more wine," she softly informed him, her eyes reflecting deep trust. Jesus instructed the servants to fill 6 stone water jars, each holding 20 to 30 gallons, with water. Then, he told them to draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet. To everyone's amazement, the water had turned into the finest wine they had ever tasted. This miraculous transformation was Jesus' first public sign, revealing his glory and deepening the faith of his disciples.
Why did Moses and the Israelites wander for 40 years? It all started with the exodus from Egypt. Moses, our fearless leader, parted the Red Sea and led the Israelites out of slavery. But freedom wasn't immediate. They faced deserts, doubts, and divine tests. Moses climbed Mount Sinai and brought down the 10 Commandments. Meanwhile, the Israelites, they built a golden calf. Despite the detours, Moses kept the faith strong. Water from a rock, manna from heaven, he kept them going. But remember, due to some missteps, Moses never set foot in the promised land. Yet his legacy? Unstoppable faith, relentless leadership, and an epic journey that inspires.
They dragged her in, threw her to the ground, dust rising as she fell. Caught in the act, they said. "Teacher," they called out, "this woman was caught in adultery. The law of Moses commands us to stone such women. What do you say?" Jesus didn't answer right away. Instead, he knelt down, tracing something in the dirt with his finger. The silence stretched, tension thick. Then he stood, looked them in the eye, and said, "Let the one without sin be the first to throw a stone." No one moved. Slowly, one by one, the stones dropped to the ground. They all turned and walked away. He looked at her. "Where are they? Has no one condemned you?" She shook her head, whispering, "No, neither do I. Go and leave your life of sin." And with that, he left, and the crowd faded into nothing.
Ready to have your mind blown by some Moses facts? Fact 1. Moses had a speech impediment. Fact 2. His brother Aaron helped him talk. Fact 3. The Red Sea? It's actually the Sea of Reeds in Hebrew. Fact 4. Moses' staff turned into a snake. Fact 5. Moses was 80 when he confronted Pharaoh. Fact 6. He broke the first tablets seeing the golden calf. Fact 7. He climbed Mount Sinai twice. Fact 8. Moses' face glowed after chatting with God. Fact 9. He wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. Fact 10. Moses never entered the Promised Land. His burial site is still a mystery. Remember, there's more to Moses than parting the Red Sea. Stay curious. This is why you need to know about Noah's Ark, the ultimate survival story. Meet Noah, a regular guy. Until he gets a divine warning about a colossal flood, God tells him to build an ark. And not just any ark. This thing is massive. Picture a 3-story high, 450-foot-long boat. Now, Noah's got his hands full. He's got to gather 2 of every animal, lions, tigers, and yes, even mosquitoes. As the rain pours down days and 40 nights, Noah and his family ride out the storm. The floodwaters cover everything, but the ark stays afloat, keeping everyone safe inside. Finally, after months adrift, the waters recede. A dove brings back an olive leaf, a sign of dry land. Noah steps out into a new world, a fresh start for all of creation. That's right, folks. Noah's Ark isn't just a story. It's the ultimate tale of faith, survival, and second chances. So, next time you see rain clouds, just remember, Noah had it way harder.
Exposing the power of Jesus in the... You won't believe what happens next. Picture this. Jesus steps off a boat and bam! A man possessed by a legion of demons charges at him. This guy's been living in tombs, breaking chains, totally out of control. But Jesus, he stays calm. With just a few words come out of the man, the demons freak out. They beg Jesus not to send them away. So where do they go? Into a herd of pigs. And those pigs, they rush down a steep bank and drown in the lake. Wild, right? The townspeople, they're in shock. The man who was possessed is now sitting there, calm and clothed, talking to Jesus. The power of Jesus is undeniable. Good always wins over evil. So next time you face challenges, remember this story. With faith, anything is possible. Believe in miracles. Don't forget to like and share for more incredible Bible stories. Imagine being in a stormy sea and seeing someone walk towards you, on water. Sounds impossible, right? In the Bible, there's an incredible story of Jesus and his disciples. Picture this. The disciples are out on a boat, and suddenly, a massive storm hits. As they're battling the waves, they see a figure walking towards them on the water. It's Jesus. At first, they're terrified, thinking it's a ghost. But Jesus calls out, "Take courage. It is I. Don't be afraid." Peter, one of the disciples, says, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." Jesus replies, "Come." Believe it or not, Peter steps out of the boat towards Jesus. But as soon as he gets scared and starts to sink, Jesus reaches out and saves him. This story isn't just about a miracle. It's about faith, trust, and the power of Jesus. Isn't that amazing? Like and subscribe for more incredible stories from the Bible.
Wait till you hear the story of Abraham and Isaac. Brace yourself. God commanded Abraham to do the unthinkable, sacrifice his beloved son, Isaac. Imagine the turmoil in Abraham's heart. But without hesitation, Abraham obeyed. They journeyed to Mount Moriah, and Isaac, carrying the wood, asked, "Father, where is the lamb for the sacrifice?" Abraham replied, "God will provide." At the final moment, as Abraham raised the knife, an angel's voice stopped him. "Do not lay a hand on the boy." God provided a ram instead, rewarding hand on the boy. God provided a ram instead, rewarding Abraham's unwavering faith. This story reminds us, when faith is put to the test, trust in his. Abraham's ultimate test wasn't just about sacrifice. It was about faith, trust, and divine provision. Why do 100% of believers cherish this miracle? It's the story of how Jesus healed Bartimaeus, the blind man. Imagine this, Bartimaeus, a blind beggar sitting by the roadside in Jericho. He hears a crowd and realizes it's Jesus passing by. With all his might, he shouts, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." People around him try to hush him, but Bartimaeus, "David, have mercy on me." People around him try to hush him, but Bartimaeus yells even louder. Jesus stops. He calls Bartimaeus over and asks, "What do you want me to do for you?" Bartimaeus, filled with faith, says, "Rabbi, I want to see." Then, the miraculous moment. Jesus says, "Go, your faith has healed you." Instantly, Bartimaeus' sight is restored. He follows Jesus, praising God. This isn't just a story, it's a testament to the power of faith and the miracles of Jesus. So next time you're facing a challenge, remember Bartimaeus and keep the faith. Like, share, and subscribe for more miraculous stories from the Bible.
Are you ready to witness a miracle? Let's explore how Jesus changed lives with just a few words. Picture this. Jesus is walking into a village. When 10 men with leprosy, a terrible disease, cry out to him from a distance. They're desperate, shouting, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." And what does Jesus do? He tells them to go show themselves to the priests. As they go, their skin clears up, completely healed. But here's the kicker. Only one of them, a Samaritan, comes back to thank Jesus. Jesus, filled with compassion, says, "Rise and go. Your faith has made well." This story isn't just about healing, but about gratitude and faith. Remember, sometimes the smallest act of gratitude can make the biggest difference. So next time you're feeling blessed, don't forget to say thanks. Want more uplifting stories? Hit that like button and stay tuned for more. Are you ready to witness a miracle? Let's explore how Jesus changed lives with just a few words. Picture this. Jesus is walking into a village. When 10 men with leprosy, a terrible disease, cry out to him from a distance. They're desperate, shouting, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." And what does Jesus do? He tells them to go show themselves to the priests. As they go, their skin clears up, completely healed. But here's the kicker. Only one of them, a Samaritan, comes back to thank Jesus. Jesus, filled with compassion, says, "Rise and go. Your faith has made you well." This story isn't just about healing, but about gratitude and faith. Remember, sometimes the smallest act of gratitude can make the biggest difference. So next time you're feeling blessed, don't forget to say thanks. More uplifting stories? Hit that like button and stay tuned for more. If your pantry looks like a desert, you're in for a treat. Here's how Jesus fed 5,000 with almost nothing. Picture this. Jesus is teaching a huge crowd, 5,000 men plus women and kids. Everyone's hungry, but there's barely any food. Just 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Now Jesus takes these humble offerings, gives thanks, and starts distributing them. And here's where the miracle happens. The food just keeps coming. It's like an endless buffet. Every single person eats till they're full. And guess what? They even collect 12 baskets of leftovers. Incredible, right? This story isn't just about food. It's about faith and abundance. It shows us that with Jesus, even the smallest offering can become something amazing. So next time you're feeling low, remember, miracles happen when you least expect them. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe for more uplifting stories.
The boat was being tossed, waves crashing hard against it. They were seasoned fishermen, but tonight fear gripped them. The storm was relentless. The wind howled through the darkness, and the sea swirled beneath them. Then, in the distance, they saw someone walking on the water. They blinked, hardly believing their eyes. "It's a ghost!" One of them cried out, panic rising. But then they heard the voice, calm, steady. "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." Peter stood, squinting into the storm. "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," was the only reply. Peter stepped out of the boat. The water felt strange beneath his feet, but he walked. He walked on the water, his eyes locked on Jesus. But then the wind whipped harder, the waves towered higher, and fear crept back in. He began to sink. "Lord, save me," he cried, the water pulling him down. Immediately a hand reached out, strong and firm, pulling him up. "You have little faith," the flock. Jesus said gently, "Why did you doubt?" They climbed into the boat, and the wind died down. The sea was calm again, and in awe they whispered, "Truly, you are the Son of God."
This is why you need the fruits of the Spirit in your... The fruits of the Spirit are found in Galatians May 22nd, 23. They are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Love. It's about caring for others like Jesus cares for us. Joy. Not just happiness, but a deep, lasting happiness that comes from God. Peace. A calm heart, even in tough times. Patience. Waiting without complaining. Kindness. Being friendly and considerate to others. Goodness. Doing what's right, even when it's hard. Faithfulness. Being loyal and trustworthy. Gentleness. Being soft-spoken and tender-hearted. And self-control. Mastering your own desires and impulses. Cultivating these fruits makes us more like Christ. Each day to help you grow these qualities. Remember, it's a journey, not a sprint. So, which fruit do you want to grow today? Drop a comment below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more quick spiritual boosts. Stay blessed.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, with darkness over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning the first day. On the second day, God created the expanse to separate the waters, calling it sky. And God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, let dry ground appear." And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants, and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds." And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And the stars to give light to the earth and to separate day from night. He set them in the sky to govern the day and the night, and to mark seasons, days, and years. And God saw that it was good. On the sixth day, God created living creatures on the land. And finally, he made mankind in his own image. Male and female he created them. God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it." And God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. Thus the heavens and